Hello guys, welcome to a new lecture on research methodology and technical writing. Today we're gonna study types of papers. So first, let's start by understanding what we mean by research output. Essentially, research output refers to the way we make our research available to others, to other people, beyond the others themselves. Research output typically represent the means through which our findings, ideas, or innovations are shared with the wider academic and professional community. There are several types of research output, and each serve a unique purpose in disseminating knowledge. Output include dissemination pathways such as publications, presentations, and communications. All of such output act as channels for sharing our scholarly contributions. In simple terms, these are the different ways our research reaches the world and creates impact. An output is an outcome of research, and it can take many forms. Research outputs must meet the definition of research. We see the wide spectrum of possible research outputs, and all of them representing valuable contribution to knowledge creation and dissemination. At the core, we have traditional academics such as thesis, dissertation, data sets, books, book chapters, technical reports, and research papers. These are the most common forms of scholarly communication. They capture the depth and originality of research. However, research impact extends beyond publication. We also have patents, widgets, know-how. These highlight innovation, practical implementation, and technology transfer. On the professional engagement side, output can include standardization contributions, talks, seminars, and public outreach activities as well. Such kind of output reflect our role in shaping industry standards and engaging with society. Finally, methodologies, techniques, codes, these represent the reproducible elements of research, while training researcher and graduate students, like supervising graduate students, are equally vital outcomes. This kind of output contribute to capacity building and the advancement of future scholars. So what are the objectives of publishing papers? First, to report original empirical and theoretical work within scientific fields. Next, to share our original work with other scientists or for reviewing the research conducted by others. Or we can say to publish in a periodical like journals, conferences, workshops, etc. These outputs should be highly readable. It means they should be clear, accurate, and concise. They must be peer-reviewed. It means some experts must evaluate our work and approve it. They must be citable, and they should include citations or references. And also, they must follow a standardized style of writing and data presentation. So, publishing is an essential part of academics' professional life. It's not only about sharing knowledge, but also about establishing scholarly identity of a researcher. First, publications ensure that you receive credit for your work. By formally publishing your research, you claim intellectual ownership and make your contribution recognized by the scientific community. Second, publications are a key criterion in academia. Publications play a central role in securing faculty position, academic promotion, and research grants. A strong publication record signals both productivity and impact. Third, publishing helps us to attract more research grants and fundings. Granting agencies value demonstrated outcomes, and prior publication strengthen your credibility when applying for a new project. Furthermore, publication increase visibility within your field, so publication allow other researchers to learn about your work and build upon it. Finally, publications serve as a gateway for collaboration. Publication connect you with peers, other colleagues, and this can form research network and even international consortiums that can amplify both scientific and social impact. For graduate students, publishing plays a crucial role in demonstrating the quality and significance of their research. Publishing provides clear evidence that their work possesses originality. It means publishing contributes something new to the field rather than repeating what is already known. Publication also highlights the novelty of the research. It shows that the ideas, methods, or results introduce fresh perspective or advancement in the domain. Moreover, a published paper reflects that research is technically sound. It shows that the methods are rigorous, the analysis is valid, and the conclusions are supported by solid evidence. Finally, when your work is published, it signifies acceptance by the academic community. It means that peers, or you can say experts in your research area, have reviewed, validated, and also they acknowledge your contribution as worthy of dissemination. For graduate students, this validation makes an important milestone in becoming a recognized researcher. Absolutely, writing papers needs a lot of hard work and efforts. There are various types of academic papers. Each type of paper serves a distinct purpose and addressing different research goals. We need to understand these types because it helps in selecting the most suitable format for presenting your work effectively. First, we have analytic papers. Analytic papers break down complex idea or data into components and interpret and examine them critically. Then we have argumentative and persuasive papers. They aim to convince readers for a particular position or hypothesis using evidence and logical reasoning. Then we have definition paper. They focus on explaining and clarifying concepts or terms, often serving as a foundation for theoretical discussion. Then we have compare and contrast papers. The authors in such papers highlight similarities and differences between concepts, methods, or findings to provide deeper insight. Then we have cause and effect papers. They investigate relationship between variables. How? By identifying why something happened and what consequences follows. Then we have reports. They present factual findings from experiments, observation, or analysis in a straightforward and structured format. Then we have interpretive paper. They offers a deeper understanding of existing work or data through a specific theoretical or contextual lens. Then we have experimental papers. They present results from controlled studies, validating hypotheses with empirical data. Then we have survey papers. They summarize and synthesize prior research on a topic. How? By identifying trends, gaps, and future direction. Finally, we have problem solution papers. They outline a specific issue and proposes a feasible, evidence-based solution, like a format often used in applied science and engineering research. Let's check them one by one. Analytical papers. In this type of papers, we collect relevant information about the topic from different researchers in order to study their different point of view about our topic. This is the first type of research paper that is only used and written by experts, and it is not an academic type of paper. You study other researchers and then write your personal point of view about the topic by analyzing the review of others. In this type of research paper, we try to be neutral, which means that we do not support one side the most. In fact, we support both parts equally. Sometimes you want to support and prove that one side of a debate is correct. The argumentative research paper should be written in a way that your goal should be supporting one side of the topic. It is really the opposite of analytical paper, because in this type, you can share and support your own personal point of view. You ought to find the reviews of other researchers too, and then support the researcher whose point of view are similar to yours. You should try to support your argument with different facts and data. The definition research paper is also known as self-explanatory because in this type of research paper, you don't need to support one side and neither to stay neutral. The only goal is to provide information about the topic without analyzing and studying the reviews of different researchers at all. You can include different data from different sources even without studying them truly. Compare and contrast papers are used to compare two different writers or researchers that they have different point of view. For instance, two businessmen are compared to where their work is analyzed. The most important thing is that you have to describe both sides' argument in your research paper, but don't forget to compare and contrast both sides, and at the end, you should support one side. Cause and effect research papers are mostly the very first kind of research paper that high school students and businessmen comfort the most. They have to answer questions like why and what. It is known as the cause and effect research paper. In business and education field, this sort of research paper is used the most because it is the easiest type of research paper to write. Reports have similarly the business format, and they are mostly written to analyze a case or situation. In these sort of research papers, you have to get to the point immediately without background or related work. But in other research papers, it is somewhat opposite. For instance, in comparison research, you have to start it with questions or with conditional sentences like if or what if. In this type of research papers, we have to support our opinion by showing them in graphs or tables. This type of research paper is the easiest because all you have to do is to provide information or data about a specific object or event and then address your readers to the main point and facts only. Interpretative research papers are mostly written by students in order to share their knowledge and opinion, which they have gained by studying a particular case or field. For instance, a student of literature is asked to write a research paper on a poem she or he read. Then they have to write this sort of research paper. The other case is, for example, for business cases in any study course. The most important thing in this type of research paper is the fact that the student has written based on it and has supported the data should be valid. Then we have experimental papers. An experimental paper is written for the purpose of describing an experiment in details. You have to mention the experiment with supporting information and data. And in this type of papers, we have to share our experience while doing the experiment and whatever we did. So normally there are some main parts like background, problem statement, uniqueness, novelty, applicability, and we have to have resources. In order to prove our idea, we need to go for simulation or experiments based on our problem. Survey papers hold a special place in academic publications publishing because they synthesize and contextualize existing research rather than introducing entirely new experimental results. The process of survey paper is to analyze, summarize, organize, and draw novel conclusions from the large body of recently published scholarly work. Through this process, survey papers help researchers to identify key trends, emerging challenges, and open research gaps. In other sense, a survey paper may also refer to the collection of data, opinion, and insight from people. For example, through questionnaires or interviews we can conduct in a field to collect such kind of data. In both cases, the goal is to gather comprehensive information and interpret them meaningfully. The process typically involves several key stages. First, we begin by data collection, either from literature search or visiting the field, for example, asking people about a topic. Then we have analysis, formulation of a problem statement, classification of existing work or opinions into meaningful categories. Finally, the paper should provide insight and conclusion that not only summarize the current state of knowledge, but also highlight future direction. Well-crafted survey papers are particularly valuable to both new and experienced researchers. Why? Because they serve as authoritative references and guide further inquiry in the field. For graduate students, survey papers are often the first step in their research journey. Survey papers are typically produced as a part of coursework or during the initial stage of the graduate program, and this helps students to build a strong foundation in their chosen research area. Writing a survey paper demonstrates that the student has extensive knowledge of the field by understanding key concepts, major contributions, existing methodologies, and current challenges. It also shows the ability to critically analyze and organize information from a large body of literature. Survey papers are not only valuable as academic exercise, but can also be published in reputable outlets. Many specialized survey journals and special issues of scientific journals actively ask for high-quality survey papers. For example, IEEE Communication Survey and Tutorial, its impact is 46.7. They publish survey papers. In essence, for a graduate student, producing a survey paper is both a learning experience and an opportunity to contribute meaningfully to the research community, often serving as a stepping stone toward original research and future publication. Survey paper can be categorized in different types. The two most common are state-of-the-art review and a historical review. The state-of-the-art review provides a critical overview of the most current research development in a specific area. These kind of survey papers compare and evaluate recent studies, highlighting advances, methodologies, and limitations. Importantly, such reviews often go beyond summarization. They may offer new perspective on existing problems or identify areas requiring further investigation. This type of survey is particularly valuable for researchers seeking to understand the cutting edge of a field. In contrast, historical review papers takes a broader perspective. This kind of survey, they survey the evolution of a research domain over time. They examine its early foundation, key findings, and the development of theoretical models. The goal here is to trace how ideas and technologies have progressed, matured, or shifted in focus. In a position paper, the primary goal is to convince the reader that your viewpoint on a topic is valid and significant. It's not about presenting exhaustive experiment or simulation, but about making a persuasive argument. To do it effectively, you need to establish the context, outline the issues or challenges, highlight what makes your perspective unique or novel, demonstrate that it is practical and applicable, and clarify any resources needed to support your position. The content should focus on evidence that supports your argument. This can be references, logical reasoning, or illustrative examples, but detailed theoretical or experimental results are not required in this kind of papers. Finally, we have white papers. White papers aim to convey policies, present technical information, or propose problems along with solutions. And the purpose of white papers can range from informing stakeholders to guiding decision-making or even supporting marketing strategies. The context of a white paper typically draws on information from completed projects while also proposing future initiatives. White papers combine authoritative data, technical insight, and clear recommendation to influence understanding or action. Okay, that's all. In conclusion, each type of paper serves as a distinct purpose in scholarly communication. Analytic papers examine and interpret information. Argumentative or persuasive papers define position. Definition papers clarify concepts. Compare and contrast papers highlight similarities and differences. Cause and effect papers explore relationship. Reports present factual information. Interpretive papers provide insight, and experimental papers report research findings. Additionally, survey papers synthesize knowledge, while problem solution papers and position papers propose actionable solution or advocate perspective, and white papers convey technical or policy information. Based on all this kind of information that I provided about types of paper, you can select the appropriate type that ensure your ideas are communicated clearly, effectively, and with impact. Thank you for your attention and see you in the next lecture.